Hello, this is Sean. In this video, let us talk about how to balance advocacy and inquiry. Why is this important in first place? Because advocacy and inquiry helps to create deeper and more trusting relationship with prospect. Sellers are often told that they need to just ask great questions. Others are just told that they just need to be able to pitch, persuade, tell stories and present. But in reality, balancing advocacy, telling, sharing, presenting, and inquiry, asking questions, is the most powerful approaches to winning a sale. Consultative selling advice often recommends that good salespeople ask great questions and spend more time listening than talking. But unfortunately, too many sellers take the advice too strongly and ask questions after questions, offering no advice and setting no agenda. Busy executives don't have a time for answering question after question in hopes that after spending a couple of hours with someone, the seller will come back with something worthwhile. So, why do we talk too much in first place? Some salespeople too often fall into the too much talk trap for one of the more following reasons. I need to show my expertise. If of course you do. How else will prospects know if you are good at what you do? However, prospects want to know whether you are a good fit for working with them as much as they are evaluating whether they should trust your advice. If they sense you are too self-focused, they will be turned off before you get that far. I need to persuade, pitch, and inspire. If that's the case, this is likely true and you should do it. But if you overdo it in improper way, then you will alienate the buyers. I get nervous, so I talk. If that's the case, explore why you are nervous in first place. Are you not comfortable with the sales conversation? Are you uncomfortable talking to senior level managers? Do you not know how do your offerings and value they provide value well? I have no plan or objective. When you enter into sales conversation and you are not sure where you want to go or what you want to accomplish, the conversation meanders all over the place and ends with neither clarity of the purpose nor helpful action steps. So make sure to have definite aim and purpose of the meeting. I easily get distracted. If you don't have a plan or if you can't get back to agenda at hand, you will spend too much time off topic. Thus, any new topic that gets introduced in the sales conversation can lead you down time consuming the fruitless path. Enthusiasm is my style. Don't hide your personality. Just learn to share it in easy to swallow doses. Your prospect will appreciate your liveliness even more. Then what we miss when we talk too much? When we talk too much, we can miss a lot because including the opportunity to build a rapport and trust, as well as the buyers don't want to just buy your product and services. They want to buy a trusted advisor relationship. If you're doing all the talking, you won't pick up on the signals that indicate what in a relationship besides your expertise and what you offer is important to your customer. You also miss the connections, the rapport that you need to build. Plus, everyone loves to talk about themselves and to tell their story. If you don't give a prospect a chance to share, then they will often feel ignored, overwhelmed, and most importantly, unheard. Benefits of inquiry then. What are the benefits of asking questions? Inquiry is a necessary part of any sales process. If you want to engage in a dialogue, then asking questions are a great way to do so because the buyer can pick up on that you understand their industry. You understand their situation, indicating that you get what they are going through. And also you have done homework under their company, thus understand their organization. An inquiry can get the buyer thinking about tactics essentials to their success that they haven't yet considered, showing your insight and forethought. Power in advocacy. Keep in mind that asking questions alone will not win you deals. You need to capture attention, develop interest, and inspire action. Advocacy, the power where you set the agenda, educate, recommend, promote, and persuade, is just as important to the sales conversation as inquiry. Also, advocacy establishes capability, credibility, the big picture, the agenda, and inspiration. Let's look at each of them. Capability. Buyer need to know that what you do in the selling process. They go through two phases: consideration phases, selection phase. In consideration phase, they must determine if you are a good general fit for their company and for their needs. In selection phase, it includes needs assessment, solution crafting, and choosing a provider. Do not assume that buyer reads your product and service description, case studies, and intellectual capital on your website. Failing to share the capabilities or advocate for your particular offerings, and you will miss the opportunities. Credibilities. Asking questions is not the only way to demonstrate credibility. There are other ways to build credibility as well. For example, share a story about how you solved a problem in the past. Describe how a customer situation matches the dynamic you've seen a number of times. Share the parts of your background and accomplishment. Point is that do not assume someone knows about you and all that you have done. You have to actively advocate following things. The big picture. Although some decision makers are truly lost, many buyers are just waiting for you to paint for them the picture of what's possible if they choose to work with you. While some people want to hear more than others, more often than not, they want to hear about your core products and services, how you typically apply them, and how they work together. Buyers also want to know the big picture about what you do so that they can file away in their brains where to apply your capabilities and assets at the time they need them. If you fail to give the people the big picture story, you can leave the buyer confused as to how to plug you in and leave you missing out on challenges they would have tapped you to solve. The agenda. All business leaders have an agenda, where they've talked their companies, their divisions, and their careers. As confident as many leaders seem, most yearn for a trusted advisor to help them see a vision and set a direction. A few simple words. Here's how I think you should move forward are among the most powerful words in your vocabulary as an advisor. Buyers don't always need to be told to fish. Sometimes they just need a right answer and confirmations that what they're thinking makes sense. Lastly, inspiration. Decision makers are looking for fresh ideas and elegant ways to solve problems. Salespeople who get results have solution process to share, passion to stimulate, and inspirations to trigger. When you show people what's possible by sharing your idea, telling stories, and putting stakes in the ground, you can inspire buyer. At the same time, you can shape the solution and make yourself a front runner of this industry. Your advocacy can start people on journeys down the new and fruitful path that include working with you. Then, with that being all this said, how to find the right balance? Let's talk about it. Balancing advocacy and inquiry is not just good etiquette, it is a good selling. So, you can approach the business development conversation like client conversation. Before you engage a conversation, think to yourself, if this were a client meeting and I needed to get a full picture of client's words before going forth and building a solution for them, how to approach it? If you approach the conversation aforementioned way instead of thinking, I am now selling a new client, it will help the conversation move along more naturally, keep you from talking too much, and help you avoid sounding too self-interested. Think about balancing advocacy and inquiry. While you don't want to talk too much, you don't want to annoy the prospective client by asking questions after question. A good sales conversation should have the client talking more than you. Think about 80-20 principle. 80% of the time you want them to talk. 20% of the time you want to advocate what you can do for them. They're also looking for your insight from your advocacy. If your goal is to get the clients to start talking, ask open-ended questions. You will be surprised at how much you will find out, how much you will help you to generate more business, and how much you will help you to be viewed as the best provider for them if you engage them and get them talking. Tell the stories. Telling the stories are one of the most powerful tools in your advocacy toolkit. Stories allow you to demonstrate your grasp of situation, advocate without directly pitching, and demonstrate your credibility. Stories also allow you to capture the imagination of decision makers and bring them on an emotional journey. When you're telling stories, buyers are imagining the possibilities and building desire as they see themselves as having success and avoiding the failures that you are sharing with them. Learn to tell good stories. You will inspire your prospect to want to be the hero in the next story. Next way to think about balancing advocacy and inquiry is to become overtly conscious of your airtime. If you've gone more than a few minutes without a very good reason, just cut it off and let them start talking by asking a question. Next way to balance the advocacy and inquiry is to actively listen to them. It is an essential component that will help you to establish real rapport by demonstrating sincerity. If you don't listen, your prospective client won't feel connected to you. Active listening will also help you to understand aspiration and affliction. If you don't listen, you won't be able to help your client solve the problems and create a new future. Asking questions that will help your prospect to reach their goals, giving them the best piece of data and advice to help clients moving forward and solving their problems, sensing the prospect's underlying needs and their concerns by hearing what they are really saying and perceiving their body language. Active listening also brings latent needs to the surface. There are 5 points to help you to develop these active listening skills. First, plan to listen. Before you enter any sales conversation, you should remind yourself to listen. After the conversation, ask yourself how well you did. Until it comes naturally every time, make listening a pre-planned goal. Second, watch your talking. If you find yourself talking too much, take a breath and start listening. Third, paraphrase. When you rephrase the 10-minute explanation into 30 seconds of summary, prospects are impressed, partly by how smart you are, but mostly by how well you listen. So, for example, you can say something like, "Just so I understand," are 4 words that can serve you really well. When someone else is describing something to you, that can take a long time to make a relatively few points. When they are done, you can say something like, "Just so I understand, it seems like A and B are happening, and that's creating the problem of C and D. Is that correct?" This is a great way to paraphrase and let them know how you well understand and listen to them. Fourth is explore. After you've paraphrased what your partner in conversation has said, asking follow-up questions becomes much easier. For example, you might open with the sentence note following, like, "Just so I understand, it seems that A and B are happening, and that's creating the problems of C and D. Is that correct?" You can continue with an aspiration question. If that's the case, where do you think you could get if you were to add new capabilities in the operational areas? Affliction questions. With all that is happening, is that causing a lot of downtime for your staff? Impact question. Really? How many hours per month do you think each person is losing? Fifth way is concentrate. Sometimes you don't need a tip or technique to help you get better at something. You simply need to break out of the pattern, apply a bit more intensity. If you find active listening difficult, go past active and force yourself to listen intensely. Dare we say, concentrate. Lastly, practice your conversation. Roleplay is a great way because nothing is better for getting good at something than practicing. So find a way to practice and you'll find yourself talking right amount and listening the right amount as well. So this video sums up how you can balance out the advocacy and inquiry, and hope this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next time. Thank you.